Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 40 of the Gaming Pubcast. So we do have a bit of news on the Gaming Pubcast, which we'll come to. But before I do that, all three of us tonight, which is a nice change.
Hello.
Hello, both. How are we?
Oh, good. You missed the episode 39 with
Did.
Lewis Packwood. It was very interesting.
It
Great
was
book.
good, wasn't it?
Great
Yeah,
book.
we've had a good few episodes. See, with your interview last week, then me and Tom a couple of weeks before that.
Yeah, that was also really fun. Really enjoyed that.
And next week we got another one, haven't we? Coming up.
Dude.
Tom's very excited.
Mr. Gary Bracey is joining us from Ocean Software.
But this episode, I think we're going to talk about a few things like FMV games. We're going to talk about Fallout TV series because that's a big one this week. And yeah, we never touched on the BAFTA Awards, the BAFTA Game Awards, which were last week, I believe, or the week before. I don't know, but yeah. So we'll start with FMV games, which now. Saying off air, Mr. Martin there saying I haven't really played FMV, but they're an old thing, but they're also had a resurgence. But they started. I think the first ones were probably when CD media was first around. So yes, probably when Martin was being born,
and he was a wee sperm,
and we were probably too young to buy these things.
Yeah, that's
but
probably right.
Obviously, the big one from the late 80s and 90s was Night Trap.
I haven't heard of Night Trap. That was on the Sega Saturn, though, wasn't it?
It was on the Sega CD.
Sega CD, yeah.
But it was developed for because this Night Trap is in Lewis Packwood's book. I can't remember what it was developed for now. It was another obscure. Was it the HAL one? No, it wasn't the HAL one because that was way too early. But it was developed for another system, and then they found mediocre success on Sega CD. But it also got Sega into a lot of trouble because it was picked on. It was picked on by the American Senate as part of their anti-gaming violence. Have you seen Night Trap though?
It's very tame. Let's face it.
It is. Well, originally, I think they wanted to have aliens or something like that, or ghosts or something that were kidnapping people, and they couldn't afford anything, or they couldn't technically make it look any good. So it ended up just being people in like black bodysuits. It was terrible. And I've tried to play it since, and it's not very good. It hasn't aged well at all. Not just because it's not particularly PC of women being like, "Ooh, don't kidnap me." But yeah, so it wasn't the best start with FMV games.
It didn't stop it getting released on multiple platforms, though. I mean, 3DO and I think they were planning release on Atari Jaguar, but never happened.
I also would you class things like things like Mortal Kombat as FMV because they use actual.
What, because they had that one guy who just goes woo woo.
Well, it was pictures of
Kombat
people,
3, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they actually had pictures of people, as the characters, So
that was stop motion, I think, more than FMV. But you had Voya on the CDI. You had on the Mega CD, you have everything from Jurassic Park to the original Terminator game on the Mega Drive, which was upgraded with FMV sequences.
So that was on Sega CD as well.
Yep, Sewer Shark was another big one. That was a great
Oh,
game.
yes, that was a shoot 'em up, wasn't it? Though, so
Yeah.
it just used an on rails video
That's
of you
it.
going down the sewer. Yes, I remember that
Yeah.
one.
So many, really.
I mean, that's probably aged a bit better than Night Trap, but equally, I wouldn't say it's a good game.
I enjoyed it.
According to Wikipedia, though, Duncan, which you'll probably know more than me, that apparently Final Fantasy VII had showcased FMV.
Really?
Yeah, well, yeah. What it was that the 3D graphics would have a video, but it would be CGI full motion video. So technically, it's full motion video, but it's CGI, and so it would play a video of this CGI like you'd get in the late 90s, and then it would sort of get to a static picture and then swap to a static picture where the 3D models would then jump on. So all the backgrounds in Final Fantasy VII were static pictures, and they had some kind of 3D map so that they could walk. They looked like they were walking into places, but yeah, cutscenes. Yeah, you would have 3D people. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought about Final Fantasy VII being FMV, but yeah, it most definitely is.
There's also modern FMV games. So Immortality on Game Pass is an FMV game, interactive movie.
Yeah. It got a lot of really good reviews because Her Story it's by the same Sam Barlow who does Her Story.
Our Story's got good reviews.
Yeah, Her Story is fantastic because what you had to do was there was basically police interviews and they were all transcribed, so you had to type in words and it would come up with all the clips of this woman being interviewed that were in that. So if you typed in you could type in the if you want, but obviously it would come up with loads of them. But you'd have to you'd watch something and there'd be a keyword in there like killed or suicide or knife or angry, or there'd be a keyword that you'd search for then in another, and you had to find all the videos. And it was fantastic. It was because also the story, I won't give away the story, but the story would unfold differently for different people. And it would be this poor woman in this for one person who hadn't finished the game, and another person who hadn't finished the game would be, oh my god, this woman's evil. All because they brought up different clips. And so Immortality I was very much looking forward to it because it wasn't just it wasn't done with text, it was actually a visual. So if there was a flower, you could click on a flower and it would find another scene that had a flower in it. Or if you clicked on a particular person, it would find other clips with that person in it. And then it came and it was just an arty-farty movie where the whole thing of getting to the end, you had to do it by rewinding it, and there was these other omnipotent beings or something that were controlling people or some absolute tosh like that, and it was all a bunch of hipsters who loved it. Let's face it.
Didn't they have a sequel or a kind of spiritual sequel, Telling Lies? That was
Telling. Oh, that was the one, I think, between the two.
Yeah.
That one was more of a straightforward story, and so it was a sequel to Her Story, not in story wise, but it was just a story where, yes, okay, again, it wasn't as good as Her Story, but it was a lot more simple than Immortality. Immortality, even now, I'm a bit confused about what the hell was going on in Immortality. And I've watched and read things about what the hell it means.
Yeah.
I still don't know it, and I don't care for it. it got like, people going, oh, 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10. I'm just like, yeah, no. You're the kind of person who would go to an art house cinema and go, oh, this is so great. Yeah. No. It's
one of the most famous games for FMV was Seventh Guest, which was recently re-released on MetaQuest. It was a bit of a rubbish game, let's face it, but it was
a puzzle game but it was like the 90s FMV, all the 90s FMV games. Rubbish acting, not very good quality video. I mean, you get even remastered. You can. There's only so much you can polish a turd, and so the videos aren't great, but it was a fun puzzle game that was wrapped up with modern media as it was then, and I loved it. I mean, the fact that I had this video, I remember playing it the one time, and even my dad going, "Ooh, what's that?" And he was anti-gaming. He was like, "Oh wow, that looks very good. Oh, you can actually control and click on that. Oh wow."
I had it on the CDI, and it was really good on the CDI.
Okay.
I've played the MetaQuest version. It's been remade completely. It's more cartoony, so not as enjoyable. But,
have you ever played Seventh Guest or 11th? Is it 11th Guest?
The sequel?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really enjoy it. So,
Martin, have you ever played either of those?
No, I haven't.
Nope. they are classics. And basically, it's a haunted toy maker, isn't he? The antagonist, and he's died and left this house, and you have to find your way through it. You have to solve puzzles in each room. So it's a bit like an early escape room game, really. If you like those sort of puzzles. Some of the puzzles you can have walkthroughs and get through, but some of the puzzles were different every time. So it does make it quite hard to complete some of them. But they're like solitaire, the ones where you have to get the balls over and jump and whatnot. So they're different every time. But they're with all the characters in it are videos. So back in the 90s, it was like, wow.
Either of you, remember the film Brain Scan? I would be very surprised if you can. It was quite
so.
It was like early 90s when it was released, and it's based on the teenagers who play this game called Brain Scan.
Yes, Edward Furlong.
It's an FMV game they're playing, and it ends up actually doing real life crimes through this game. And it's
I remember this.
Gets them to. I think it even like gets them to murder people and stuff like that. On
I never got to see that.
If I remember.
Oh.
That would have been 4 in 1994. Huh. But so it happened. But that was if anyone can remember Brain Scan.
I don't know what happened there. I think you two popped off my screen.
You did. You did.
Oh, sorry about that.
You thought you went off to watch Brain Scan or something.
I did start it videoing, and for some reason that stopped the connection. Tom is still not appearing on my thing. I can't hear him, so he may have to disconnect and reconnect. But so I'll natter for a bit. He's appearing on the recording. So
Tom is here with me.
We can't hear him.
I can hear him.
I can't hear him now because he's not saying anything.
Yeah.
So he's not saying it. Anyway, while he disconnects and reconnects, I recognise the DVD cover of that, but I don't think I've ever seen it. Yes, Edward Furlong of Terminator 2 fame is the main character by the looks of it. Is it actually scary?
No, not that I can remember.
In one word.
But I can't really remember it that well. When you were talking about FMV games, it just reminded me. Tom is back.
Hello.
Hello, I can hear you.
I
now.
can always
There
hear
you
you
go.
and see you, Tom. All right, so
This
Fine.
is the
There was
thing,
actually a
yes,
sequel to that movie called Mind Warp, apparently, and yeah.
I did
So
not know it was
I'm actually going to go and watch them because I think it's really good. Interestingly, something about FMV games was the Sega Mega Drive was only capable of using a small screen of FMV, and it couldn't do the full textures or anything like that. So they could only put tiny amounts of FMV in the games, and that's why you got a lot of re-releases from the Mega Drive. Whereas things like the 3DO, although the 3DO was only capable of full motion video if you got the additional card to go with it, the motion MPEG card. Same with the CDI that had the FMV cartridge, which was like almost like a cassette with like a heat sink all around it that you'd put into the CDI, and that allowed you to do full motion video on games, and that could display them full screen. And there were rumors it was coming to the Atari Jaguar as well, but it never did. So
I think
I
in
think
the
the MSX had it.
sorry.
Go on, sorry.
I was in the 90s. There was late 90s, early 2000s. There was the X-Files FMV game, which got pretty bad reviews because and it did have some sections where you had to find almost a pixel to get to the next bit. And so it made some bits quite hard. And even if you knew, because I'd find a walkthrough and it would say, it's somewhere around here kind of thing. So back in the early 2000s, finding an actual picture and it would be, it's somewhere around, you'd have to click, 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 click. It was on the PS1 as well. So it's not like you could just click thousands of times with a mouse. But it was an X-Files game. It was an X-Files episode.
Mm-hmm.
As a game that you could control. And yes, as a game, it wasn't too good, but if you liked the X-Files, fantastic. There's only a couple more I think I want to talk about, and one is Black Dahlia. I don't know if you heard of it, the Black Dahlia murder.
No.
There was an actress in the 1940s, I think, but there was an FMV game in the 90s that I owned, and I think it came on a couple of CDs or something, but it had Dennis Hopper in it. And yeah, so that was a bit weird, that one. It was it was, they made it all supernatural or something like that, so it went a bit weird, but fantastic game. But the ones nowadays I think that we should all play, everybody should play. We can't mention FMV games without Wales Interactive and all their games that they brought out now. Hit and miss, I think. Some are, but I think I own at least 7 of them. So when you said about talking about FMV games, I'm like, yeah, I like them.
Mad Dog McGree was a really good one, the cowboy game. And he had Lethal Enforcers as well, which was on the Super Nintendo and on the Mega Drive with the came with the light gun.
Yes. Was it on the Mega Drive? It was on the Sega CD or the Mega Drive?
No, it was on the Mega Drive and on the Super Nintendo.
Oh.
Very early days, but
I presume obviously with the Mega Drive it wasn't the full motion video of the arcade.
Wasn't great. So Mad Dog McCree had a release on the CDI.
Well, I think that was the sort of where it was mainly made for, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
After the arcade.
Yeah, and that was fantastic. I have to say, it was really, really good. And this is where some retro systems perhaps don't get what they deserve in terms of their kudos for the quality of games they had and the arcade ports. But yeah, I mean, great games. There is a website, actually, if anyone's interested, called fmvworld.com, and it goes through about 300 or 400 FMV games from Night Trap to Burn Cycle, which was...
I can imagine a lot of those are not very good. There was some other similar to Night Trap that were equally, like, even worse than Night Trap. And I have played a couple of stinkers, and even the modern ones. There's one Oh, it's a Wales interactive one. It's the compound or something. But it was me and my wife played it, and it was so hilarious. There was one bit where you're being stealthy, and literally you're in this. What's it? Yeah, I'm looking up the list of their games. Oh no, I can't actually see it. Oh, the complex. There you go, the complex. And you're trying to take somebody out of a building in a wheelchair and stealthily. And it's almost like the person might as well run through with this wheelchair going, I'm being stealthy! I'm being stealthy! Because it just the acting was terrible. But it was bad, good bad. It wasn't, oh god, this was a boring game. It was funny. But some of them, the Dr. Decker game that they've got out, that was quite good because you have to solve them who murdered somebody, and it's different every time. Well, there's a limit to the amount of times the answers it is, but you have to work out because there's different answers for different questions. So, but yeah, I love them. People should give them a chance because you can play them on your phone as well.
Yeah, that's the thing I'll say about FMV games, and just because of the era where they seem most popular being the 90s, I'm assuming there were some games, FMV games, which were for adult.
There was one game called Voyeur, which was very adult-like, and obviously you had Joy of Sex as well. That was a CDI.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, on this, the CDI, there was.
You emulate them?
I mean, you could. The thing is, you could get what they called sex games even on the Spectrum. Most of the time, they were poker games, so it'd be strip poker.
What was the singer in the 80s? It's Sam.
Sam Fox.
Sam Fox, yeah.
Touch me, I want to feel your body. That one.
Yeah, she had a striptease game on the Amstrad and the Spectrum.
Yep. Yeah,
she had a game?
I may have played that.
Yeah.
Because let's say it was so terrible, the graphics were, that kids could buy them and they were like, yeah, right. There's nothing sexy about that game.
Or her, really. I'll leave you with two things on the FMV thing. The Star Trek Borg in 1996 was released for Windows 95, and it was an FMV game based on Star Trek Next Generation. Phenomenal game, really good fun.
I don't think I've ever heard of that one.
Yeah, and it was almost like a third-person shooter. But interestingly, a lot of people don't know that Command and Conquer was also an FMV game.
Well, it's a Wing Commander, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wing Commander. They had all Tim Curry. What was the famous thing he said in it? It was one of his. It was a catchphrase that people made memes out of. The Wing Commander or the Command and Conquer. I think it was, but they both had them. But there was something he said, and it was hilariously funny how he said it. But they were really cheesy. The Command and Conquer ones. They were the Wing Commander ones. They were terrible but good. But they embraced it. They embraced the cheesiness.
I think we can definitely say that there's no room for FMV games in this day and age.
Well, I think Wales Interactive would argue with you there because
you have an FMV game on VR though, virtual reality. Would that work better?
Yeah. I mean, you've got 360-degree cameras now. You could just stick that on somebody's head and oh, hello, rough.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's so. I mean, we could talk about the Wales Interactive one. You've got Phantasmagoria as well from the I want to say late 80s, early 90s. So many good ones. Night Shift is a good one from nowadays, and that's one that's got about 10 different endings. And that's all that the Wales Interactive ones basically are. They're just interactive stories. So you pick an answer to a question or select a pickup or something like that, and you get a different piece of video.
Well,
So-
Mario was going to have one as well. Mario was that they were filming one where he travelled around the world, and they went around the world filming footage from the Grand Canyon to the Great Wall of China, and they ran out of budget, and essentially Mario was going to hop on the screen and talk to people about these different locations, and it was an FMV game, and it was meant to be on all video motion consoles and machines, but
I'm glad they ran out of budget. But
yeah, you can find the ROM
I
online.
don't know if I would want to have Mario.
Can you
Yeah.
imagine?
It's going to be
Unless he,
terrible,
went
isn't
to, unless he went to Western and did a thing about the pier. Then.
Yeah.
it? So have we convinced you, Martin, to go out and play some FMV, or are you not sold?
No, probably not.
No.
You're not going to go and buy a CDI now, then? What's going on?
I might go out. Oh yeah.
So, what
Yeah,
games have we been playing
Seems sound
this week?
Yeah. Games.
Games.
Games we've been playing.
What have you been playing,
Oh.
Martin?
What have I been? So I've done and I try to avoid this game because when I go on it, I can't get off it. It's the one game that I just end up being addicted to. And I deleted it about a year ago because it got just too much, and I re-downloaded it, and that was Rocket League. I don't know
okay.
if you played Rocket League. Some people play it and they don't get on with it, and then the people who do get on with it.
So addictive.
Yeah, and because I'd had such a long layoff, I was terrible at it. But they remember your sort of where you were when you were last on it. So I go on competitive games, and I was obviously being put at quite a not a high level, but higher than I am at this moment. In time.
Yeah.
So I had
Put you where you were practicing a lot.
Yeah, people in, the quick chat just abusing me, like, get out the game, Cooper, you'll ruin it. And I'm like, I just want to play Rocket League. And then, it just. I think the other night, I tried to stay away from it because the other night I went on it about 8 p.m. and I was stood up playing as well. And it was about 3 a.m. I had work in the morning. It was 3 a.m. when I finally came off. So I was stood there for, 7 hours.
Oh,
To the
wow.
point where my legs the next day were hurting because of how long I was just stood in the same place. And my partner was like, "Oh, you got that game again, haven't you?"
I just have this image of you at 3 o'clock in the morning going, I've decided to stop playing, turn it off, and just going, plonk, collapsing into the heat.
If I stood there any longer, it was would have got to the point. And then I had to go and walk my dog. I was like,
At 3 in the morning. Oh, blimey.
Interestingly, though, Fortnite has now got the game in the Fortnite game, so you can actually race inside Fortnite against all the 8-year-olds and win. So
Yeah, rocket racing.
Yeah, and
Well, I always think when I'm getting abused by people on Rocket League, I mean, it's like they probably don't know that I'm like a 34-year-old man. And they're probably like 10 or 11.
probably best you keep it that way as well, Martin.
Yeah.
Well,
Leave me alone.
give it a chance, and eventually yours will be big enough for you to destroy. Because I think I played it a couple of weeks ago with my boy, because he's played it with his my stepson as well, and obviously he's almost crying because I scored a goal against him. But yeah, eventually yours will be big enough, and you'll be able to just go, "Yeah, I'm not going to play online. I'm just going to play against my kid." Yeah, I win every time.
That's a
without fail.
gateway. That's a gateway, Duncan. Play with kids, and then I end up online for 8 hours straight. Just
Yeah,
the
Then you
best
start
thing to
shouting
do
at the
is to
8-year-olds.
But do you pay any money? Do you buy any skins
No,
or
I don't.
premium?
No, I don't really care about what my
What you
car
look
is.
like?
Never. So
As
yeah,
long as
I
you win.
don't. That's probably the one positive is that I don't actually spend any money. But I always feel terrible afterwards that I've just wasted a whole evening, and then the following day at work, I'm shattered.
And this is the discussion, is it? That a lot of goes around. The games are addictive. If you
Yeah.
find that one that scratches that itch. Whether it's a single player game, multiplayer game, whatever. Yeah, you'll get people who don't sleep.
Yeah. I mean, that's the one. There have been other games where I got, but never to that extent. Like I've been on games where I've been on it, and but once I've completed it, like Resident Evil 3, I got a little bit addicted to that, and I completed it. But then I completed it within like a day. So,
if episode 41, intervention with Martin.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Thanks.
And Gary Bracey.
Hey Gary, could you just talk to this guy and just stop playing Rocket League?
Hopefully next week. Next week we'll have the interview, but the week after I won't be playing Rocket League. But who knows? If I'm not here, you probably know why. It's probably
maybe when we do our first live episode, we should have a Rocket League race.
Even a Rocket League match, and Martin would absolutely cream me. Oh, that sounds wrong, doesn't it? Oh, defeat me. There you go.
Yeah,
he'd kick my bottom.
We could probably play it in Fortnite actually to make it easier for us to all play online, as we've all got different machines.
Well, yeah. Can you play Rocket League?
Yeah.
Or is it just Rocket Racing?
Well, it's Rocket League, but they've named it Rocket Racing within Fortnite, but it is Rocket League.
Oh, so what, you play football with it, or is it just racing?
It's just the racing. So it's the cars, and you race each other. There's no football.
Okay, so it isn't Rocket League then.
Yeah, Rocket League.
Rocket League's just Rocket League's football.
I know they've just taken the cars out of it and put it into Fortnite. Is Rocket League owned by Epic? I don't know.
Rocket League is owned by Epic, but it is just football. It's just,
do they still have the basketball and the hockey?
They got hoops. They also have ice hockey.
Yeah,
they do like special like ones where they had like an American football one for a bit. But yeah, for a limited amount of time.
But the football's the only one that really is any good.
Yeah, and then they have like Rumble, which just means you play football, but then you get like special power ups and stuff like that. So, but anyway, I don't.
What have you been playing, Tom?
So,
Spiderman 2 on the PlayStation 5.
Nice,
fantastic game, I have to say. I mean, we've got Spider-Man 1 and we've got Miles Morales. And yeah, I mean, obviously on the first games you can turn on all the reflective graphic changes, so the ground is more reflective, the puddles are more reflective, things like that. But Spider-Man 2 is amazing to look at.
It looks beautiful, yeah.
It is. And to play, it's very, very much more open world. You can go pretty much anywhere on the map. You're playing with Miles Morales. I've not explored the 2-player or anything like that, if there even is one. But the story is definitely more interesting and less structured. Yeah, really, really good. And it reminds me a bit of the Spider-Verse cartoons as well.
Is it one thing I own Spider-Man 1. I don't own Miles Morales on PC, so I loved it. I thought it was great. I absolutely rinsed it when I got it. Is it more of the same, but with more kind of thing? Or
I think Gods of War in terms of the bosses, in terms of how big the bosses are, and immediately you jump straight into the first boss, and he's huge, and he's just smashing the shit out of you. The buildings. It's the Sandman, whatever he's called, the Sand guy.
Was that was literally the movie Spider-Man 2, wasn't it?
Yes, and he's in the game, the Sand guy, and it's just fantastic. There is a free demo on PlayStation if anyone's interested, and I think you get 2 hours to play the game. And it's not limited. So I think if you're really good at the game, you could probably complete it in 2 hours if you were that good. But I'm not.
But it's the kind of game that you want to enjoy and explore and
definitely
get collections and side missions.
So compared to the other two, Tom, would you
Oh,
Is
it's
it better?
so far advanced. It really is. Even looking like we were just screwing off the missions and just go and look around the city, and you look at the water, and it's just, you know, really realistic, whereas the other games weren't so much so. But I mean, you can throw bits of buildings now around at the bosses, and whereas before it was just
The bosses were always
leaf.
they were very cinematic, weren't they?
Yeah,
So you'd have
and small.
you'd have different interactions during the boss fights, wouldn't you? Where there'd be like almost QTEs, but sort of all associated with the normal controls. So it'd be like, you've got to punch this person, but it'd be a cinematic view. You're punching, like a bit of a wall into Rhino or something like that.
Yeah. So to give you a picture of the first battle, you start fighting this sand guy in the street. Then he throws you into a building. Then you use your webs to fly off of one part of the building while the building's moving, go through a window, then throw that bit of the building at him. And it's very much Spider-Verse and the most recent Spider-Man movie. So you're flying through bits of debris as they're flying at you. It's very, very graphically intense. Just phenomenal.
Is it your favorite superhero game?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, I mean, my favorite superhero is Superman, and we've never had a decent Superman game. So.
Superman 64. Yeah.
Someone's never played Superman 64.
Oh, bad game.
I had this horrible feeling he was going to go, no, Superman 64 is my favorite. I'm like, what? Really?
No,
I was thinking more of the Batman games as the.
They are very.
They are pretty good. I think I would go so far as soon as was it Rocksteady have got a bit off the boil. I think the Spider-Man ones with who is it? It's Naughty Dog, isn't it? Have sort of taken over the Rocksteady mantle and making the best ones, because Arkham Asylum, is it Arkham City and Arkham Knight? Fantastic, but then now since then, Rocksteady have.
I think it's Insomniac, isn't it? Spider-Man.
Oh, Insomniac, that's the one. Yeah, not Naughty Dog. Yeah.
I really like the original Spider-Mans on the PlayStation.
The PlayStation 2 ones were fantastic.
There might have been ones before that, but they're the first ones I ever played. They were really good as well. But,
I definitely think Spider-Man 2 is easily my favourite superhero game right now. The worst would be Avengers. I mean, that was just diabolical.
Someone's obviously not playing Superman 64.
I see it was a good Superman game, The Death of Superman, on the Mega Drive. That was a great game.
PS1 Spider-Man was by Neversoft of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater fame.
Yeah.
Who were bought by Activision and shut down by Activision. So, boo, Activision. Oh well. They got bought up by Microsoft.
Two great games.
So come on, Duncan, what have you been playing?
I've been playing a few Game Pass games. There have been some interesting ones. I've played Botany Manor, which is a puzzle narrative game about growing some flowers. It was one that the wife looked like she might want to play, and she did. And we completed it in 2 sessions, I think. So it's short and relatively easy. But yeah, you basically, there's lots of things to read, so you might have to put a setting. There's a book you'll find that have a setting in it for a machine or something like that, and you have to grow. I think it's something like 12 different plants in various ways, and there's little clues left around how you've got to grow it. Like there's one you have to zap with electricity. There's one you have to display certain colours onto a wall, so it thinks that it's a sunset. And all that kind of thing. Good game. Easy 1,000 gamer score. Apparently, I think it might be on the Switch as well.
Is it your favourite plant-based game?
No, you got Stardew Valley for that, but it's definitely my favourite plant-based narrative puzzle game. definitely.
It's up there in the top one.
It's definitely the best, and by that extent, it's also the worst because it's in a list of one. So take that as you will. But no, if you want a quick one, if you got Game Pass, it's a good game. Also started Harold Halibut. Now, have you seen this one? Now, I suppose this could go on the FMV really because it's stop frame animation game, and the whole thing is literally done with models, with plastic or clay models, and they've done all the animation, stop frame animation. So it's weird because it's real, but it's not real because you're controlling it. So I don't know. It's sort of uncanny valley kind of thing where you're like, hang on a minute, this isn't computer animation. This is actual animation. So this is a video I'm controlling.
Sounds interesting.
It's weird, but it's a point-and-click game. The reviews have been... I put it on the Facebook page. The reviews have been okay, sort of the 70 mark. But yeah, it's a point-and-click game. It's interesting. It's got a bit of a weird story. I haven't got that far into it yet. But yeah, if your head can get round the weirdness of controlling a stop frame animation world, then it's a good game. But mostly I've been playing Saints Row, the reboot. So I thought I now own that on two platforms. I should start playing it. And I think you played it, didn't you, Martin, a while ago? Did you play it? No.
I don't think so. I'm not.
I was, when you start it off, you think, what's wrong with this? The shooting works all right. The graphically, it looks okay, but it's just you're not in the world to start with. You're not in the open world. But when you get there, there's just lots of things that aren't quite right. But then I've realised you wander around. There are almost no civilians wandering around the town. Almost none. They're all either police or gang members, and there's very few of them anywhere. The cars that have civilians in, but again, there's most places there's hardly any cars. There's some interesting missions, but a lot of them are just drive somewhere, shoot a load of people, done. There's just lots of things where if you compare it to your GTA, like the world, there's just something not right. The shooting, there's just something not right. The driving, there's just something not right. And there's just so many of those things where after playing it for probably 10 hours, there's just lots of it's not right. With a lot of things.
The critics were quite harsh on it, wasn't it?
Yeah, and if you play it for half an hour and just go, you'd probably go, what's the matter with that? Because the shooting works okay. I've got it on easy level. There is a level below that story, which makes it... I did try that, but it was too easy. Literally, you could run into bullets and just punch people to death constantly. So yeah, I've got it on easy. So the gunplay is easy. But yeah, and there's lots to unlock. I've unlocked you can put businesses around the thing, but the map isn't the best to navigate. It's quite hard to know where you've got to go because you zoom out and it changes how everything looks, and it just puts what you've got to find in each area. So you don't know where your base is, you don't know where your businesses are if you zoom out. So you've got to zoom in to look if something's there. Yeah, no, I probably will carry on with it to see if it does click with me anymore. But I'm not. I think I'm not enjoying it, but I'm not sure. I don't know.
You seem confused.
It is. It's, as I said, it's just everything about it. You're like, there's something not right here. I want to like it, and after playing, I played all the Saints Row from 1, 2, 3, and 4. I think I own them all. Obviously, 1 wasn't very good, but 2, 3, and 4, they're all pretty good in their own ways. 3, I think, was the pinnacle. And yeah, there's just something not right about it compared to the others. A lot of the humour has gone from being really obnoxiously stupid and that's a little bit funny to it's almost like your mom. The acting is the jokes. It's almost like seeing your mom doing a rude joke. You're like, not good. No. No one wants to see. Yeah, the actor. There's an English actor. One of the voices you can pick is in English, and I've got a female protagonist. And she talks really posh. So she talks like this, and when she's going on about effing up this and effing up that and kind of thing, you're like, yeah, no, that's like listening to my mom. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't know because my mom's been dead for 20 years, but yeah, it's just generally a sort of general. It's like your mom. Yeah, no, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see in future weeks. Maybe I'll keep going and maybe something will unlock that makes it better. But at the moment, it's a sort of 6 out of 10 kind of thing. Not too sure. Anyway, that's what I've been playing. I have been playing, but not of any place where I could review them, I'd say. Even less than I've been playing Harold Halibut, which I've only played that for about an hour.
What have you been watching, Duncan?
Well, yes. I have watched the first 2 episodes only of Fallout's TV series with Mr. Walton Goggins as the ghoul. So it's got lots of swearing in it, which has been awkward because I've been watching it with a 14-year-old stepson. A sex scene in the first, not a particularly graphic sex scene in the first episode. But no, it's so far very good. I'm enjoying they put a lot of detail into the sets, their costumes, the whole, there's a whole vault that the person, the one protagonist lives in, Vault 33, and that's where most of the first episode starts with. It's got a very intense first 5 minutes where, as a parent, you might be going, oh dear.
Is it based on like one of the games, or is it just based on the series?
No, it is a separate story. There is obviously linking with a lot of the Fallout universe and the Fallout games, but the vaults that are in this series are not ones that have been in any games. They are I believe there's 3 interlinked vaults. I won't say any more than
Dog
that.
meat's on it, isn't he? I've seen dog meat in the trailers.
Yeah, there is a dog who may turn out to be called Dog Meat. I haven't got that far yet, but there is a dog. It's the guy who plays Ben from Lost. I don't know.
Who's a dog?
No, he brings out the dog. He brings out the dog. Yeah, no, he transforms. No, his character escapes from somewhere. Again, I won't go into too much detail for those that haven't seen it yet, but and takes a dog with him who is, I can't say too much without. Yeah, there's no big secrets or anything. It's basically it was a runt that was. There's lots of other dogs who are very much, there was a big row of them, and they all listened to all the commands. And he was a scientist who looked after this dog, and it's a bit more natural dog sort of and dog aggressive. It's very violent, lots of brilliant gore and blood, and there's one of the irradiated animals in it. Walton Goggins, who has said is the ghoul is pretty good. His character was pre-Fallout, so his character is like 240 years old or something. Yeah, and it's all about, so far it's all about finding people. And then there's a Brotherhood of Steel character who, again, you get to see Brotherhood of Steel armor. And and
I do want to watch it, so
I'd highly recommend it. Even after 2 episodes that I've seen, it's fantastic. They've put a lot of effort into getting it accurate to the feel of the games, but in a TV show, it's big budget. I think I heard that it might actually be Prime's most expensive show. Maybe.
I think
maybe not. I don't know.
Lord of the Rings one, wasn't it?
Oh, the Lord of the Rings.
I haven't watched that, but apparently they spent a lot of money on that.
Yeah, well, that
anyway.
So, yeah, as a gamer, I think it's with The Last of Us and now with this, I think gaming is the new hot property. Oh, and there we go. Apparently, there.
And he's back.
And I'm back. Yes, sorry. Don't know what happened there. The gaming is the new hot property, I think.
They seem to be doing a good job in it at the moment. In terms of,
so I think we said about this before, but what do you think should be the next TV that they make a big budget one out of? Other than Pac-Man, obviously.
I always said about Fallout. Like I always thought that would transfer well, and they've done that. So
I think Resident Evil.
What
as a TV show or
as a TV show? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there is a lot of background lore with these things. I think that's the main thing, and that's what they did with the movies. They made up a lot of crap with the movies. They weren't, after the first one, they weren't very good.
And then there was a lot of rumours surrounding. Well, there are a lot of rumours surrounding Zelda with the Mario film.
Yeah.
So Nintendo obviously a bit more willing to allow people. So I don't know if that would be a film or a series, but
and apparently the Minecraft movie has finished filming.
Great.
Coming out in 2025.
Probably not one that I would have picked at the top of my list.
Oh, trust me, my boy is so excited when I told him that there's a Minecraft movie and it's coming out next year, and he's like, "Why can't it be next year?" Literally.
Yeah, my son's excited about it as well, my eldest. So maybe we'll double date Duncan and go and take them.
Or we could just find somebody else to take them.
Or just download it.
I feel for the podcast. I think we'd have to watch it and review it. But I think if they do it well, could be good. I mean, look, the Lego Movie. Everybody said about the Lego Movie when it was announced that there was going to be a movie about Lego. People just went, whatever. And it came out, and it was hilarious. It was brilliant. The second one was okay. The Lego Batman movie, that was funny as well. But
you never know. It might be an Angry Birds.
That one was the first. Again, the first one was the first one was very funny. I liked it. Second one again didn't do too well because it wasn't as good. But
Yes.
Time will tell.
I mean, some of the JRPGs I think have big epic. Imagine a Final Fantasy VII actual movie about the whole thing, and including all the cross-dressing and the chocobo racing and
Aren't there some Final Fantasy anime?
There are some movies. I mean, there was Spirits Within, Oh god, there's been a couple of others, I think, but obviously CGI, computer animation. So, but yeah, a full sort of live action Final Fantasy or Chrono Trigger, all these kind of things. God of War.
They're working on that.
Yeah, I think that one will be they're probably bidding for that, and right as we speak.
Yeah.
I would want that as a series, I think, rather than a film, because I reckon they could get. You can just do more with a series, can't you?
Yeah, you can have a different antagonists every series, kind of thing, where like a different god that he has to fight. Yeah, whether it's a Greek god or a Norse god or whatever gods. I don't know how many gods he's fought so far, but there's been a lot. So Fallout TV, definitely watch it. It's been done really well. So BAFTA Game Awards, Mr. Martin.
Mr. Martin.
Mr. Martin.
Thank you for addressing me.
Is that your dad's name, is it?
That's how everyone addresses me, apart from you two, just call me Martin. But everyone else call me Mr. Martin.
We should give you a nickname like Mr. Mayhem or something like that. You know?
Yeah.
Mr. Skills.
Mayhem, my name, not Mayhem by nature. Yeah, so the BAFTA award happened for the games, not for the films. We're not going to be going into, well, that has happened, but we're not going to go on that.
Yeah, they were on the 11th of April, so a week ago from today. But
quite predictable in terms of the big winner. Baldur's Gate was best games, which I think it's pretty much won the best game on all the awards, hasn't it? Baldur's Gate.
Yeah. Not too many surprises in the major ones.
Yeah, I mean the only surprise from was that on their nominations for best game, they had Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, which are all ones that but they also had Dave the Diver in there, which I just found.
But that was a great game. It was a great game. It was. Is it in any shape or form ever going to beat Baldur's Gate? No. No. But it was a great game. I own it on PC, and it works so well on Steam Deck. I think it also is on Switch as well. But yeah, it is a really good game, and it's very relaxing. It doesn't punish you that much for running out of air or whatever. And then it's got so many mini games and all this kind of thing. It's such a nice but funny. And the graphics look brilliant. You know, although it's pixelated graphics, it's very. This sounds contradictory, but it's high resolution pixelated graphics, if that makes sense. I'd highly recommend.
It did win an award. No, it didn't get best game, but it did win game design. The category.
Oh, okay.
So.
And that's why you should play it, because the design of it in terms of graphics and gameplay is just fantastic.
It's on Game Pass as well, isn't it?
No, it's not on Game Pass. I don't believe. I think it might be on PS Plus. I think it might.
I thought you played it, or did you play it on Steam Deck?
I played it on Steam Deck. I
apologise for getting anyone excited.
I'm just wondering. Yes, PS Plus, PlayStation Plus game catalogue. Dave the Diver. There you go. So if you got play PS Plus, check it out. You can play it on PS Plus. There was Alan Wake 2 won a couple of awards for artistic achievement and audio achievement, it's such a shame that game came out the same year as Baldur's Gate 2, because it's a fantastic game. Graphically it's great, story wise it was great, gameplay it was good. It just came up against what is an absolutely generation defining game in Baldur's Gate 3.
A evolving game, Cyberpunk 2070 or 2077. So I know they've obviously done a recent DLC, haven't they? With Cyberpunk.
Well, yeah, it came out the Phantom Liberty DLC. I haven't now completed that, and it's a lot more cinematic than the main game, and it's fantastic piece of DLC with Idris Elba. It's a really good DLC, and yeah, with all the fuss after it came out, of it being broken on previous gen, which it should never have been released on previous gen. That was just ridiculous. It's definitely evolved to be now a fantastic game that a lot of people recommend playing, and I would join. I had a great experience from day one, to be honest. I was playing on Series X, and it was a great game day one, and it's an even better game now. So I'd agree with that winning.
Other than that, it was quite standard. Like Super Mario won a couple awards, Zelda won some awards. But Viewfinder, that also won a couple of awards, which I hadn't heard of before we spoke about it. But you know about it, don't you?
Yeah, it's sort of a weird game where it's a puzzle game, so you have to get 3 places or 2 places. It's a 3D, like first person puzzle game, but you'll take a picture, and I don't own it. I'm getting this from gameplay videos I've seen. But you'll take a picture of some floor, and then the picture that comes out, you can hold that over a floor, and that you can walk on that floor, if that makes sense. Or you can take a picture of a window and put it over an impenetrable like griddle or something, and you can then walk through that thing because there's now a window there. It's a puzzle game and unique in that respect.
Puzzle game where you take pictures to solve.
Yeah, to get places. So you can probably solve puzzles in unique ways, and probably everybody will solve things in different ways. It reminds me from the trailer of a game called Superliminal, which is available on Game Pass, I want to say, or I believe so. And it's available quite cheap on PC, I think, because it has been in various bundles. But fantastic puzzle game where you can pick something up and it uses perspective. So something that's really close to you, if you then drop it, it will be massive in the world. But then if you hold something away from yourself and it looks small, and when you drop it, it'll be tiny in the world. And you can then pick it up and it'll be very small. So you'll have something blocking, let's say a big, literally a big block in front of a door. You pick it up and then you turn towards a wall so that block looks like it's smaller on the wall, and it will literally be small. I don't know if I'm describing that well. It's a really hard. It blows your mind playing it, but once you get used to it, it's a fantastic Superliminal. Fantastic. It's on Game Pass. It's on PC, I presume on PlayStation as well. It's a fantastic game. I'd highly recommend that. And Viewfinder looks like the same kind of thing. So, great game. But other than that, there was narrative games on there that Venba, which is I think is on Game Pass. It was all right. I played it for a bit. It didn't really grab me. That was the BAFTAs. Which was last week. Yeah. Anything else we were going to talk about? There was hang on one second. Oh yes, the little matter of our name. Well, I mean, shall I just say? Yeah, we were looking at basically, changing our name because of various reasons behind the scene kind of thing. So we came up with a couple, but then we came up with We decided on one, and people are free to let us know whether they agree with it, disagree with it, or they think it's good, bad. Got any suggestions? And I'll leave it up to Martin to say what it is, because this is Martin's baby. This podcast. Do you want a drum roll?
Focus on gaming. I was going to call it the Focus on Gaming Pubcast.
That would defeat the object of changing the name.
Yeah, Focus on Gaming Podcast is what we're going to be going forward. So, the Gaming Pubcast.
Yeah, well, I think because we have the domain for the Gaming Podcast, and people will still be looking for that when they see earlier episodes. Earlier episodes will still be called the Gaming Podcast, but it will be on the website. There will be Focus on Gaming, and Focus on Gaming Podcast.
Yeah,
and Martin will have to get used to saying that.
Every time I say gaming, I just naturally want to say Pubcast afterwards. So,
Oh, trust me, whenever you're not here and I've done the intro, I did a podcast. People can search for it if they want. It stopped 12 years ago. And I still, even now, I go to say the name of that podcast. I'm not going to say it because people can go and search for it and hear me from 12 years ago. But yeah, I still go to say that podcast. And that was 12 bloody years ago that stopped. Oh, terrible. But anyway, so Focus on Gaming Podcast. We've got to get used to saying that.
So as of next week, that will be the introduction. But we got a special guest next week.
Indeed.
Very special guest.
Inform him that he is coming onto the same podcast. It's just a different name. But people should let us know. Subscribe still to the same podcast, and like and leave a review. Comment on whether you think it's a good name. If you don't like it,
tough.
Yeah,
we've already started making.
Yeah, we've decided. So
we're too far in.
We're committed.
All I'd say is, if you are listening, then do listen to next week's one, because it'll be worth it with the guests we have.
Yes. Hopefully lots of hails.
All three of us will be there, because we haven't had a guest where all three of us have been there. So,
that's true.
No, there'll be a
jinx.
Four
someone
screen.
gets ill or whatever, or someone gets.
I'm definitely being there.
Brian Cox or something like that. So
I think on his deathbed, Tom will be there. Right. Well, there you go. So let us know, like and subscribe and all that. Go.
Till next time, guys.
Next week for Gary Bracey.
Bye.
Bye.